Hi everyone, Coach Pippin here from Pippin Performance, and welcome to the Back to Fitness Kickstarter class, your blueprint to getting your pain-free active life back. Many times new clients come to me because of scenarios similar to this. You feel super motivated, thinking, it's time to get my life back, and I'm going to start exercising again. It may have been a while since you were active, or you're just waiting for old injuries to heal. Being that you're now ready to rock and roll, you try to go back to the gym and go for a short run, and it feels awesome, right? Unfortunately, the next day you wake up and bam, old injuries flare up and all that motivation goes out the window. You know you need to work out because it's the only way you can get back to doing all the fun things you like to go do, like hiking, biking, playing with your kids or grandkids. Unfortunately, you don't know where to start. Well, today we're going to get you on the path to getting back to doing the things you love by learning some exercises that set a foundation for movement. They'll help you to reprogram your body on the proper ways to move. Through this class, you'll be given the tools to make lasting changes. My friend Victor is here with me today to help demonstrate the moves. No equipment is needed for any of this, so let's get started. The exercises we'll cover today are the chin tuck, lumbar cars, glute bridges, dead bug variation, the bind, hip cars, and shoulder cars. First up is the chin tuck, so let's get started. Vic, go ahead and lay flat on your back. And the first thing we're going to go over once again is the chin tuck. So the point of this is that when most people sit at their desk or do whatever, their chin tends to hang out, as you can see, a little in front of their body. Now they take this premise and they apply it to their exercise. So let's say you're doing like a lateral raise and you'll see somebody's head bobbing back and forth. We don't want to have that happen. We want the chin to stay over the spine so we have nice good posture, and we want to be able to keep this for pretty much every exercise we do. So with Victor, he's going to start here. Right now you can see there's a little gap in between his neck and the floor, and that's okay. So the first thing he's going to do is he's going to try to tuck his chin down, almost like he's giving himself a double chin. And if you're struggling with this move a little bit, you can take your finger and almost like push your chin into your socket. And see, now he's a little bit flatter here, and you're going to start to feel the front of your neck muscles turn on. Now, that's the bottom part. Now we're going to let the chin come back up. He's going to pause there, so your chin's probably moved about 2 inches, and then now he's going to tuck that chin once again. We're going to go for 10 reps here. Remember to always be breathing. Another tip, you can think about trying to take your fingertips and reach toward your heels. That'll help keep your shoulders away from your ears, give you a little bit better posture. That's pretty good, Vic. He's tucking that chin. You're going to feel the back of your neck kind of get a little bit stretched out. You really want to feel the front neck muscles turning on. Those things tend to just go dead on most people because your head's hanging out here in front of the body. So we got to work on that. Okay, let's get about 3 more here. That last one, come all the way down, tuck it really hard, get that good stretch in the back, and relax. Good job, babe. All right, so next thing up is we're going to go over lumbar cars. So cars stand for controlled articular rotations. Throughout this workout, we're going to do 3 big ones, okay? The biggest thing with the car is it's promoting blood flow in that particular joint. The more we move that joint, the healthier that joint becomes. Now, with the lumbar car, our lumbar tends to stay very, very still, especially if you're sitting. So we need to get that thing moving and grooving all the time and get blood flow in there. Also with the lumbar cars, it teaches what it feels like to have a pelvic tilt. You have to do this in order to get some of the other exercises that we're going to go over. So, with the lumbar car, you're going to tuck your chin a little bit like you just did, because that means your neck is in neutral. And then he's going to start thinking about trying to rotate his pelvis. So the first thing I want you to think about is taking your lower back and pushing it into the ground. And when you do that, you'll feel the top of the pelvis start to roll backwards and the bottom of the pelvis will roll forward. So with Vic here, he's rolled his pelvis back, his back is flush with the ground. And now he's going to roll his pelvis the other way, keeping his hips on the ground, keeping his torso on the ground. And now there's a nice space in between his lower back. Don't go to anywhere that's painful. You just want to go to where you feel a nice stretch. And now he's going to return back to that starting position with his back nice and flat on the ground. And we're going to go for 10 of these. Remember to always be breathing. There's no particular way you have to breathe. Just make sure you're breathing comfortably. You're staying nice and relaxed. And you're not creating any pain here whatsoever. So the first time you start to roll your pelvis away in that little gap in your lower back, it is feeling a little different because we don't spend much time there, but we need to go there. Just in case we ever get put there unexpectedly, we need to spend time there to develop control. That way we can mitigate injury as much as possible. Good job. Another thing you'll notice is when your back is flush with the ground, you'll start to feel your abs turn on a little bit. and you might even feel your glutes turn on a little, which is a good thing. More blood flow is always good. It's nice and rotating that pelvis. Let's get 2 more here, Vic. Good. Go as far as you can in that range. All right, we're going to end right here. So right now, his back is flat to the ground. We want to keep that before we go on to the next thing, which is called our glute bridges. So keeping the back flat puts us in a good position to start to drive force through our glutes. And the whole point of glute bridges is to get your glutes firing. Our glutes never work, it seems like, because we're always sitting. But if you do any kind of movement, you need your glutes to be working efficiently, otherwise bad things are going to start to happen. So once again, he's going to tuck his chin. He's going to reach his fingertips toward his heels, flatten his lower back on the ground, and now he's going to drive his heels in the ground to slowly let his hips come up. And he's going to freeze right here. You'll notice a nice straight line. He's pretty mobile, so he's going to be able to get pretty high. If you start to feel the back of your hamstrings or your lower back, you lost that tilt that we just worked so hard to get. So he's staying in that good tilt, his back's flat. He's going to start to lower down slowly. And you'll notice your lower back should touch first. If your butt touches first, that means you lost your pelvic tilt. You can't have that. So once again, he's going to come down, he's going to untuck his pelvis. He's going to retuck it, flatten the back, and now drive his hips up into the air. All right, guys, we're going to get 10 total of these. Remember to keep breathing, keep your chin tucked, try to keep everything else nice and relaxed. You're not moving anything else. Just think pelvis and think hips rising off the floor. Another thing you'll notice with people is their feet tend to move and they wiggle their toes. Just try to stay relaxed, drive through the heel of that foot, and really think about squeezing the glutes at the top. The more comfortable you get at this, you're going to start to notice the front of your hips actually start to get a little open here. So as he's squeezing his glutes, he's going to feel a big stretch in the front of his hip sides. Once again, if you sit at a desk all day, these things tend to get glued up. So opening that hip by driving through the glute, you're getting a little good stuff here. Let's get 4 more Vic. All right, 2 more guys to get 10. Make sure we're coming down and make sure we own that pelvic tilt before we drive up. So make sure your lower back is flush with the ground before you initiate going up. All right, last one, guys. Come up there, squeeze those glutes as hard as you can, and down nice and slow. All right, next thing we're going to get into is a dead bug. So a dead bug is all about the interior core. So we need to learn how to stabilize this thing for no matter what we're doing. So we're going to assume that we're flat lower back position, so the pelvis rocks again. You're going to pick your feet up so your knees are directly over your hips, and now you're going to take your arms straight up to the ceiling. Now this is why they call it a dead bug, because obviously it looks like a dead bug laying on the ground. Now the more advanced you are, the straighter your legs are. If this is the first time you've done any of this stuff, you're going to have your knees about 90 degrees, and now you want to start thinking about driving that lower back into the ground. So we're going to do 10 really deep breaths here, okay? So first think that you're driving that lower back into the ground, taking a big inhale, and now big exhale. That's 1 breath. We're going to do 10 of those. Keep driving that lower back into the ground with every breath. If you feel like you can't maintain this, put your arms down. It doesn't matter. The biggest thing is just owning that lumbar, driving that lower back into the ground. And as you get more comfortable, now start to take deeper breaths. Big inhales. Feel your abdominals fill up with air. And then a big, slow exhale, driving that lower back in the ground. Good analogy to think of is think like you got a weight scale that you can weigh things on. Imagine that's underneath your lower back. You're trying to drive that lower back to put up the biggest number humanly possible on that weight scale. If you start to feel your lower back, it's because you lost that position. So keep driving down, keep driving down. We should have had 2 more big breaths here. Good. And 1 more big breath. And excellent. So make sure you come out of this nice and slow. Let the feet drop. Come on down. Let the arms drop. And now we're going to get into the bind. So the bind is all about what we call thoracic rotation. We need to be able to rotate here in order for our shoulders to function properly. So first thing I'm going to have Vic do is sit up on his butt. He's going to pull his left foot to the inside of his right knee. His left arm is going to come up over the top and almost behind him. He's going to take his hand, put it right here, and you're going to screw that left shoulder down and back. So you're trying to create as much space between your left shoulder and your left ear at this point. Now he's going to take his right arm, reach across his knee, Think about pulling that left knee toward the midline, and he's just gonna now own this position. So you're gonna hold this for 30 seconds, and what you should feel is a big stretch on your right side, and on your left side, you're gonna feel it kind of engage, because you're using your left obliques to rotate you to the left. Keep trying to breathe, keep trying to stay tall. If you're kind of starting out with this stuff, you're gonna wanna keep your left hand a little closer to the body. Vic's got really good mobility, so he can create that length while having his hand really behind him. For beginners, have your hand a little bit more out to the side, it's totally fine. Just do whatever you can control. We're gonna go for about 10 more seconds here. Keep staying tall. Try not to lean to your left, right. You're rotating, not leaning. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and come on down. All right, guys, let's go ahead and switch sides. Good, so now we're gonna take the right foot to the inside of the left knee. Right arm goes behind, and we're going to cross that left arm over. And now think getting really, really tall in that spine. The bigger breath you can take, the more comfort you can develop in that position. If you can't breathe really deeply, you need to come out of it and back up just a little bit. Don't be in a rush to make corrections. You gotta put in the time and effort to get where you wanna go. Keep staying tall, keep trying to push yourself away from your right hand, create length in the spine. Good posture, good breathing. Another thing you can think about is having that outside foot point straight up to the ceiling. It just gives you a little bit more stuff to control. You're being more active. Good. Let's get 10 more seconds here. And keep breathing big, huge breaths. You just need to breathe, breathe, breathe. It lets you own the positions. All right, and let's slowly come on out of that. Next thing up, we're going to go into the hip press. So Vic, I'm going to have you stand up for me. So you can use a chair, you can use anything you want, you can use a wall if you got it. I'm gonna have you stand here. So now we're gonna get into the hip car. So once again, control articular rotations, and we're gonna try to make you have a better hip. So most people's hips only move really one good way. We need to be able to do all the wonderful things that a hip can do. So the first thing, we're gonna stand on our left leg, and we're gonna slowly bring our right knee up to the ceiling. So hold that position. You should notice that you don't wanna lean back. You want to move, only thing we want to move is really this hip side. Okay, so this is flexion. He's staying tall. Now he's going to open the knee out to the side. So think like you're trying to open a barn door. Notice the belly button should not go with it. It should still be pointing straight ahead. And now we're going to get to the fun part, which is the internal rotation. The knee drops, the foot comes high as he starts to swoop back and around. We're going to come around the backside, get behind that other knee, and then slowly come up through the zone back to the starting position. And that's one. And we're going to do this 4 more times. Slower is always better with your cars. You'll start to see people speed up, or you'll feel like almost like a CD skipping motion. That's because you don't have control in that position. Go slow, go smooth, and just do the best you can moving through that entire range of motion. Nice and smooth. Good. We're going to get 2 more here. Keep staying tall. You're going to notice you're going to want to tilt laterally, forward, whatever. Just try to stay as tall as you can. And don't worry about how perfect your car looks. We always need to work on it. Just do whatever you can control. Excellent job, guys. All right, let's go ahead and switch sides. So now we're going to be standing on our right leg. Once again, get really tall. Create length in that spine. Start with bringing the left knee out. Open the barn door. Open the barn door and slowly let that knee drop, foot comes high, and then loop around the backside and then come back to that starting position. Try to keep your knee at 90 degrees as best you can. When you start to get behind you, you might start to feel some cramps happening. That's okay, cramps are not bad. It's just your way of your nervous system saying, ooh, I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna throw this little electrical charge because I don't like it. It just means you need to shake it out, go right back to it. The more you do it, the less likely you're gonna cramp. We're going to get 2 more here, guys. Let's try to make sure we keep that trail leg nice and straight. Excellent. 1 more, guys. Open. And now real smooth through that rotation piece. Own every piece of that range. And excellent. All right, now we're going to get into the shoulder cars. So we need to have better shoulders. Shoulders are meant to internally rotate, externally rotate, flex, extend, all this wonderful stuff. We have to go explore those ranges of motion, otherwise we lose it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a karate chop hand with our right arm, okay? We're going to slowly lift the right arm straight up to the ceiling. We're going to go until we hit what we call our roadblock. You'll know what your roadblock is because you're going to feel kind of like a block sensation in the backside of your shoulder. That's where we stop. We want to make sure the arm stays straight. So now we're going to come out to the side, and now we start our rotating piece. Think about your elbow. We want you to rotate that elbow and make that the driver, and you see how he's rotating inwards. So you're rotating, 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 rotating as you swoop around. And now you're going to be behind your back and you're going to freeze. I tend to think like I'm trying to hold a glass behind me. I want to own that position. I'm really internally rotated or wound up. Now I'm going to try to go back up to the ceiling. You're going to hit that roadblock very quickly. Once you can't go anymore, now we're going to unwind the shoulder, coming out, 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 back overhead, and then back down to the starting position. That's one rep. We're going to get 4 of these. Go slow, try to own every piece, make sure we get that rotation. Sometimes you think you can't rotate anymore, but you probably got another 10 to 20 degrees. And we're rotating, thinking the elbow is the driver. And back up, nice and smooth. Some other things that tend to happen here is we tend to move our head, or we tend to move our spine, trying to show that, ooh, look how much range of motion I got. Keep everything nice and still, and just go slowly and go where you feel comfortable. Good, come back up. Remember to always breathe while you're doing your cars. Come all the way down. We're going to get 2 more guys. Back and smooth. Abs stay engaged. Think about that chin tuck that we worked on earlier. Winding from the elbow joint. Come back up. Looks good, looks good. And 1 more, guys. So real quick, brace those abs, squeeze that butt, tuck that chin, make sure we own everything nice and perfect. Winding over, and back up, and all the way back over and through the zone. All right, so let's go now to the left arm. So karate chop hand, slowly rise, keeping that arm straight, find your roadblock, and now start to swoop out to the side, winding via the elbow as the driver. Come down. Go back up to the ceiling, find your roadblock, and start to swoop out, unwinding that shoulder all the way up and over the top. That's 1, guys. Let's get 4 more. Keep breathing, keep winding, keep winding, keep winding. Another thing people will do is they'll tend to bend their elbow, especially when they get behind their back, because they're trying to get more range. Well, that's not your range anymore, because now you're incorporating another joint. We want to keep it all in that shoulder joint. Winding, keep winding those elbows. Excellent. Keep breathing. Sometimes we'll tend to hold our breath while we're doing these things, trying to squeeze out that little extra range. Just make sure you can still breathe comfortably. You should almost be able to have a conversation with somebody while you're doing this. Good, excellent. Before we do this last rep, come on down. Let's do a quick little check. Let's do that chin tuck. Let's tuck that pelvis that we worked on earlier. Abs are engaged, and now let's come back over. And as you notice, that's all the things that we worked on. That's why we call these our foundational moves. Everything needs to be in alignment. If I pretty much put my chin over my head, I tuck my pelvis, my abs are down and back, I'm pretty much in a good position for no matter what I want to do. All right, guys, that's our 5th car. We're going to go through all that 1 more time. Go ahead and hop back on the floor a bit. Let's start with those chin tucks. So now that we see how all the pieces fit together, let's make sure we own every piece. Okay? So, instead of just focusing only on the chin tuck now, let's add that little bit of a lumbar car. So let's flatten that lower back out. Keep that and see if you can still breathe comfortably while you do that. And now let's work on that chin tuck. So, chin gets pushed down. You can almost use your finger as a little bit of a driver. Own that position for a 1 count, and then slowly let the chin come back up. That's 1, guys. Let's get 10 here. All right, we're now on rep 3. Start tucking that chin again. Do a little check-in. Make sure everything's nice where you want it to be. Low back's nice and flat. Fingers are reaching toward your feet, everything's staying good, and you're able to breathe here. It doesn't do you any good if you're owning all these positions but you can't even take a breath. Learn to develop comfort owning this by breathing, breathing, breathing. All right, let's get 4 more, guys. Excellent. All right, let's get into that lumbar car. So do a mild chin tuck, and let's start rotating that pelvis back and forth. So our end range is where our lower back's off the ground, glutes are still on the ground, torso's on the ground, and then our beginning range is we tuck it back, the lower back is driving into that ground. You can use that analogy we used earlier about the weight scale. So as his pelvis rolls backwards, his back is driving into that ground. He's trying to register the biggest number possible on that weight scale. All right, let's get 5 more, guys. Keep that head still, keep your chest still. You don't want too much of this going on. Good, let's finish up. And own that last rep. And now stay there, because now we're gonna go into the glute bridge. So his back's flat again, chin tucked, feet are about shoulder width. Now he's gonna drive your heels into the ground and slowly get that butt high off the ground. Squeezing the glutes to the top and then down nice and smooth. Think about that lower back touching first. Once again, as I said earlier, if you feel like a cramp is about to happen in your hamstring, or you're starting to feel this in your lower back, you're not keeping your tilt. So you're coming up and that tilt and losing it, you're kind of going to that lumbar car we were talking about earlier, you're losing that. That puts your hips in a really bad position. Hamstring's gonna cramp, or your low back's gonna kind of tighten up. We don't want that. So own your tilt, just keep thinking about keeping that tilt all the way up through the zone, squeezing the glutes to the top, and then back down. Let's say you wake up one day and your back's feeling a little stiff, get on the floor, do some of these. You've been traveling on a plane, sitting at the desk, these just help open these hips up. You can't do enough of this stuff. All right, let's get these last 2 guys. Drive through the heels, keep your feet still, don't let your toes be wiggling all over the place. Keeping the chin tucked, shoulders down and back. Last one, let's get up there, let's squeeze those glutes, and really slow come on down. All right, we're gonna get the dead bug. So, knees directly over the hip sockets, feet off the ground, arms straight up in the air. Imagine the weight scale underneath the lower back, and we're gonna do 10 deep breaths. Big inhale. And big exhale, pushing that back into the ground. Nothing should be moving here. There should be no pelvic tilting, no nothing. Everything is completely still. And we're just focusing on breathing and bracing that core. And really understand what this position feels like, because this is what you're gonna need to do when eventually you move on to better, cooler exercises. You have to get this stuff down. If this stuff's moving, bad stuff is gonna happen. We wanna be as safe as possible when we get back to better exercise. Nice and smooth, keep breathing. Driving that lower back into the ground, no pelvic movement. Let's get 4 more breaths here. Good, and 3. If you're just starting out, don't worry about how deep a breath you can take. Start to build it up, it's just like anything else. It might start a little small in the beginning, and then start to really feel everything getting opened up with air, and then really forcefully exhale all that. Excellent. All right, let's come on down. Let's sit up on our butt. Let's get into the bind. All right, so we're gonna go left foot on the inside of the right knee. Good posture, take the left arm up and over. Excellent. Right arm comes across, sits on the inside of the knee. Let's create space between us and the floor, getting tall, and let's hold now for 30 seconds. Sometimes you can think about with your trail hand, like you're trying to turn it outward. It's not gonna move, but you'll start to feel more engagement underneath that armpit here. We want to get all this tissue to turn on, because that's where we create stability. Excellent. Nice and smooth. Remember, don't tilt to the sides. Just try to stay vertical when we're worrying about rotating, not tilting. Good. Let's get 10 more seconds. Foot stays nice and up. All right, slowly come out of that. Let's go to the other side. So now let's pull the right foot to the inside of the left knee. Right arm goes behind. Act like you're trying to rotate that hand almost clockwise. Putting the left arm on the right knee. Now creating length and getting nice and tall. Let's go for 30 seconds. This is a good time to really practice that breathing. Your lungs aren't compressed or anything. You got to lengthen the spine. Big inhale, big exhale. Do a little check. Where's your chin right now? Think about a chin tuck. Nice and tall. You'll be amazed at how many times you'll catch yourself with your chin out in front of your body. So just do a little chin tuck every once in a while. Make sure we're good and tall. Excellent. Let's go for 5 more seconds. Let's try to take in a really big inhale. And now big forceful exhale. All right, slowly come out of that. And so this time we're going to have Vic do it from the side from the hip car. So Vic staying here facing that direction. And let's put our right hand on the chair. So now you're going to see it from the side. So once again, get tall, go through all your cues. Chin tucked, left knee comes straight up to the ceiling. He's going to hold that position. You want to stay tall. Now open the barn door. And now you'll start to see this rotation happening. The knee drops, the foot comes high. He comes around, get a little behind you, and now slowly come back up through. Try and keep your knee at 90 degrees the whole time. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And come through. Let's get 3 more, guys. Do a little check. Is your trail leg straight? Is your torso nice and tall? Your abs engaged, butt tucked, chin tucked. Let's get the last 2 here. Good. Do a little check too to see, are you tilting forward? Are you tilting away? Just try to stay tall, a nice statue. And excellent. All right, Vic, go ahead and spin around, guys. Let's do the other side. Let's go up. Open. Rotate. And now get behind the other knee and come back through the zone. Good, let's get 4 more, nice and smooth. And back through the zone. 3 more. Do a little check. Where's your pelvis? Where's your torso? Where's your chin? 2 left. Get around the back. Good. And last one, nice and smooth. Explore every range that you got. And come back all the way through the zone. Excellent. All right. Now we're going to get to the shoulder car again. So Vic, let's have you facing me over here so we can get a side view. So we're going to start with our left hand, karate chopped hand. Before we start, let's check in. Let's go through our cues. Chin tuck. He's good. Where are your ribs at? Pull your ribs down a little bit. Abs engaged when we did the dead bug. Pelvis tucks underneath so everything's nice and engaged. And now he's going to slowly start to lift that hand straight up to the ceiling. You're going to find your roadblock. Now, once you can't go any higher, start to swoop out to the side. We're going to wind that shoulder up via the elbow. Think of your elbow as the driver. We're turning that shoulder as far in as we can. Get behind you with a straight arm. Imagine you're holding the glass behind your back. Now we're going to come back up. Can't get any higher, so now he's going to unwind that shoulder. Come back over the top, straight arm, and back to the starting position. That's 1. Let's get 4 more, guys. Keep thinking, what are your chin doing? What is your ribs doing? Abs doing? Butt doing? Everything's got to be locked in. And then we're winding that shoulder, getting as much rotation as humanly possible. A common misstep here is sometimes we tend to rotate toward the direction of the arm is moving. We want to keep thinking everything is pointed straight ahead. There's no thoracic rotation. Everything is staying nice and still. Excellent. Keep winding the shoulders. Come back up, unwind. Get back over the top, and let's come down. We got 2 left. Let's do a little check. Where's our chin, pelvis? Everything's good. Come back over. Keep those arms nice and straight. Good. Winding, winding, winding. Back up over the top. Excellent. And come down. Let's get our last shoulder car. Go straight up. Let's see if we can get a little higher. Everything's staying locked in. Get that roadblock, and now swoop out to the side, winding through the elbow. All right, guys, finish up that last rep. And now, Vic, spin around for me. Let's get that right arm. So, go through your check. Chin, ribs down, abs engaged, butts tucked. Everything's nice and straight. And let's start. Lift the right hand straight up to the ceiling, keeping the arm straight. And start to swoop out to the side. Now you probably noticed by doing the hip car and the shoulder car that your own hips and shoulders are very, very different. So you might have a right hip that moves exceptionally well compared to the left. Same thing might happen with the shoulder, or it might be vice versa. Whatever the case is, that's okay. You're gonna have imbalances, that's just life. So it just means you gotta work on it. They're never gonna probably be equal, and that's all right. Just keep making each one better on its own. Back up. And let's freeze where we're at right now. Let's do a quick little check. Where's your pelvis? Where's your chin? Everything feel good? Then keep on going through the car. Go to the top, rotate through the elbow. All right, guys, we've got 2 left. Go straight up. Where's your chin? Where's your pelvis? Ribs down. Winding, winding, winding. Rotate. Get all that rotation out of there. The more range of motion you explore, the more range of motion you get to control. Over. All right, guys, let's get the last rep of the day. Back over. Swooping out. Rotating, rotating, rotating. Let's get a good pause there. Feel that position on the end range. And now come back up and over the top. All right, guys. That's the end of today's workout. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining us.